I know, so I was just. Ma'am.
Good evening and welcome to the Borough Beach Haven Council meeting, Monday, January 9th, 2023 at 6 p.m. Start with the flag salute by Ms. Strongbow.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, adequate and electronic notice of this meeting has been provided by posting on the bulletin board in the Beach Haven Municipal Building, on the borough website, and mailing the same to the Beach Haven Times, the Asbury Park Press, and Press of Atlantic City. Mr. Batista.
Here.
Mrs. Baumiller.
Here.
Ms. Lambert. Here. Ms. Snyder.
Here.
Mayor Davis. The Borough Manager's report this evening for December 2022, cash receipts in the current fund account for the period of December 1st, 2022 to December 31st, 2022 were $571,350.53. Cash disbursements in the current fund account for the month of December totaled $1,362,955.47. Cash balance in the current fund account as of this period totaled $16,482,189.65. Cash receipts in the water utility account for the period of December 1st through December 31st, 2022 were $36,131.12. Cash disbursements in the water utility account for the month of December totaled $168,117.83, and the cash balance in the water utility account as of December 31st, 2022 was $4,654,338.41, submitted by our treasurer, Sherry Holder. Ordinance this evening for ordinance 2023-1C, an ordinance amending chapter 174, article 1, special events in the Borough Code of the Borough of Beach Haven, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, to establish decreased special event fees for mercantile holders. First reading. If you want to start with discussion from council.
Here.
Did you go in and discuss this ordinance?
What's going on with your lake property?
Okay, if there's no discussion.
Could I say something? Sorry, I'm waiting for Mary Claire. I wasn't able to vote on this last time, and for the record, I just wanted to say that I personally don't think anyone with a brick and mortar should have to pay any additional fee at all. And I also think that since these are such small, community-minded businesses with almost no impact to the town, parking, police presence, pressure on residents, and they add a lot of vibrancy and fun to our town. We need them. The farmers market is, I'm not saying we're getting rid of them. I just want to make sure that we make the impression that we want them in our town and we value them. And I personally don't think that we should increase the fees at all for anyone this year. Especially, in most towns, no one else charges for beach events. Called Ocean City, their farmers market, they have over 80 vendors. They charge less than we do. Just my opinion. So I would be in favor of especially not charging the brick and mortars any additional fee at all.
Are already adopted.
I know, that's
So
just,
this ordinance that you're talking about tonight is allowing the mercantile holders to use the nonprofit fees.
right,
And also giving a 50% discount in the shoulder seasons.
right.
So it's all good.
I do know that, but I just, for the record, okay. I know that. Okay. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Can any of you hear me or see me?
Go ahead.
Would you please try to talk into your microphones as much as you can, because I'm having a bit of trouble hearing.
Yes, go ahead.
Well, I tend to agree with it. I've thought about this ordinance, so I think it's a good thing, and we need to do it. I do think I'm a little concerned about some of the issues. I got Katie's email again. I like the idea of having events in Beach Haven, and it's hard for, I don't want to make it too hard for somebody with a very small business like that to make any money. So I still think there's some need to tweak the ordinance, but I don't want to slow it down. Is there a possibility of, passing it tonight and making a few minor adjustments in it for the next meeting before it passes? Be very minor, is that possible?
Sure, this is just up for first reading, so you can introduce it or not introduce it and make any amendments right now. That's first reading.
Say that, Bruce, I'm sorry. Are you saying that we couldn't tweak it a little bit if we passed it now? Would be some very minor changes?
You can tweak it now if you wish, yes.
Or tweak it now? Okay, well, that makes sense. So if anybody has an idea, I mean, I look at like Katie's business, and I mean, I probably would have just said yes to everything before I got her emails, but I mean, she's basically, she's on the beach very early in the morning before the lifeguards get there and before the beach gets crowded. And her yoga is usually up towards the dunes. It's never very crowded there. I just think knowing, having gone to her yoga classes, sometimes there's only 2 people, if that, sometimes 1. So I hate to see, I'd like to be able to see a little flexibility. When looking at the ordinance, we're clumping everything together. And I really, basically nonprofits and people with mercantile licenses, et cetera, and then big camp groups. And I just think there should be some exceptions for people that are, really running a business that isn't very profitable, I guess. It's almost like a service to the town to have these people. They're not making much money, but I don't know if that's possible. If anybody else has any ideas.
So Nancy, when we were working on the ordinance corrections, we did not do big groups. We broke into even smaller groups. And this ordinance tonight takes into consideration nonprofits and mercantile license holders in a separate category intentionally to give them, they're already in season getting 50% off. And then the off season, they get an additional 50% off. Of the 50%.
I saw that. I saw that.
Whatever tweaks you guys want to make is fine with me. I just need to know so that I can move forward, because I'm starting to, like, people are, reach out to me starting January 1st about,
Right,
their applications for the year. And they know, I've been keeping them updated this whole process. So they know that things are in the works, and if they need to hold off on putting in their applications, they can. But whatever you guys want to do, just let me know and I will make the adjustments.
Okay, well, I tend to feel like Kitty, people that are utilizing the beach if we could tweak it to say at hours that are underutilized could pay less. That would be one way. I mean, there's a difference between Ken's surfing school and Katie's yoga school, because Ken is running his school right at the time when the beaches are really busy, and therefore he's actually taking up a lot of, there's been controversy over that, and I'm all for his business. But on the other hand, somebody like Katie that's there in the morning before the beach is busy, I think we ought to be able to make an exception utilizing the beaches perhaps before 9 o'clock in the morning or before the lifeguards get on duty. Maybe cut the fee back a bit for that. I mean, even if Ken wanted to run his surf school at 7 in the morning, I think he should have a discount for that if it's early in the morning when the beaches are underutilized. If we could add that to the ordinance, that would make me happy.
I just feel like this is muddying the waters. We categorize them as for-profit or non-profit. I mean, we can't say, well, that's not a busy time or that's not a busy area, so we're gonna let them have it for free. No, it's for-profit or non-profit or mercantile holder. So if that's the category they're in, then that's what they should pay. I think you're just mixing things up by making these other suggestions.
All right, well, I'm not gonna vote against this, but I mean, I'd like to hear what other council members feel about this. I mean, I know you've worked real hard on it and it's important to get it done. And I know also it's difficult to tailor make it for specific businesses. I was just trying to find a way to help somebody that has a very small business be able to make some money. And I know you guys have too.
Okay.
Does anybody else have any thoughts besides me and Kitty?
Yes, I do. I know Mary Claire's put a lot of time and effort into this, and I think we did tweak it once. I mean, truthfully, I don't have a problem with cutting more of a break to brick and mortar. As a former business owner, I know you're paying for a mercantile license, you're paying rent, you got a lot of overhead, but I do think there should be some kind of fee associated with it. If we want to re-examine that or tweak it along the way, fine, but other than that, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I mean, Mary Claire and I have been going back and forth for this for a few months now, trying to, figure an equal fee schedule for everyone. And these are the suggestions that we've discussed throughout, and I'm open to hear any other suggestions that Kitty or Nancy might have, but moving forward, we have to move forward with this, because we are getting applications on a daily basis, but I'm always willing to hear additional suggestions for the future. Absolutely. But thank you, Mary Claire, for the time that you spent on this.
Yeah, thank you, Mary Claire.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
The way I see this, the underlined items are the new items and the items that are listed are existing.
Correct.
Correct.
The only change to this is the $75 to $80 for 1 to 4 participants on a weekly basis.
Yes, and then we're adding a 50% discount in the off season.
Right.
And we're adding that the mercantile license holders are eligible to use a nonprofit fee schedule. You can see they're being added to the title.
I'm okay with this.
Thank you. Any other discussion from council before we ask for a vote? Do I have a motion to approve 2020?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Batista?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Lambert?
Yes.
Ms. Snyder?
Yes,
Mayor Davis?
Yes,
Ordinance 2023 2C, an ordinance amending and supplementing chapter 212 zoning, sections 212-21, permitted modifications of the Borough Code of the Borough of Beach Haven, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, to clarify the applicability of additional square footage for entry and stairs for raised structures. First reading.
Do you want me to
You want to
explain?
talk
Yeah.
about it, or you want to-
I will. So, originally, the intent of this zoning ordinance was allow existing structures, especially after Hurricane Sandy,
to allow an additional 60 square foot into their front yard setback for their stairs, which of course made sense. We had a lot of houses being raised, and rather than going to the land use board for a variance, we're allowing them to go into their front yard setback. However, the way that it was worded, new construction was also taking advantage of this extra 60 square footage, and which doesn't make any sense because it's new construction. They can clearly build within within the front yard setback of the 15 feet. So this ordinance clears that up, where only that additional 60 square foot into the front yard setback is for homes that are existing right now that are going to be raised to meet their base flood elevation.
Any questions from council? Any concerns from council?
I think it's a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do I.
These are like loopholes that we're gonna close up in zoning.
Okay, hearing no other discussion from council, do I have a motion to approve 2023 2C?
Motion to approve 2023 2C.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Mr. Batista?
Yes.
Mrs. Ball Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Lambert?
Yes.
Ms. Snyder?
Yes.
Mayor Davis?
Yes,
Ordinance 2023 3C, an ordinance amending chapter 204 water, section 27, tapping fees and other miscellaneous charges of the Borough Code of the Borough of Beach Haven, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, to increase the fees for installation of meter pits and laterals. First reading. We've been approached by the superintendent of the water department that the cost for our department to be doing this work has increased. So we need to then increase the fees that we charge. Any discussion from council, questions or concerns?
No.
No. Do I have a motion to approve 2023 3C?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Batista?
One question, the $1,000 is a charge for the meter pit, and then the installation charges are $1,300, and the borough's providing the meter. Is that the way I understand this?
That's correct. The charge is being increased to install the meter pit. The meter is provided without charge.
I'll vote to approve this. Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Ball Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Lambert?
Yes.
Ms. Snyder?
Yes.
Mayor Davis?
yes,
All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the municipal council and will be enacted by one motion in the listed. Any items requiring expenditure are supported by a certification of availability of funds, and any items requiring discussion will be removed from the consent agenda discussed separately. All consent agenda items will be reflected in full in the minutes. Resolution 8 is acknowledging mayoral appointments to the library board. Resolution 30, appointing primary and secondary domestic violence HROs for 2023. 31 is establishing decorum for Beach Haven meetings. 32 is authorizing surplus property no longer needed for public use in an online auction. 33 is acknowledging the hiring of secretary for Department of Public Works and Water. 34 is refunding a duplicate tax payment. Authorizing application to the Department of Community Affairs for a recreation grant for the construction of the Beach Haven Skate Park. Any of these items would like to be removed for discussion? Others? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of 35, 2023? Do I have a motion to approve the list of
Oh, yeah, so
resolutions with
Yeah,
the exception of 35?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second,
Mr. Batista,
Yes.
Mrs. Bonner,
Yes.
Ms. Lambert,
Yes.
Ms. Snyder.
yes.
Mayor Davis.
yes,
We'll go back now to resolution 35, 2023. Colleen, if you'd like to discuss?
Yeah, I had a couple of people, because this just kind of came on late, were concerned because it mentioned Walsh Field. And I understand this, that I know that they want to go for the grant. But some of the concern was that, okay, once you get the grant, is it a done deal? Kind of putting the cart before the horse here. And I understand that concern because, I mean, I said before that there's so many variables, there's so many unknowns right now. I just want to make sure that, last month it came out that this was supposed to be at Bay Beach. And it was in the paper, we got a million phone calls about that. And now people are saying it's a Walsh Field. And one of the people lived right across from Walsh Field, and they're like, why am I hearing this for the first time? And, I think again that I know that you want to go for the grant, but I just want it to be very clear that if the grant comes through, that's fine, but we still need to have a major discussion on this. This is not a done deal, because that's kind of, as they were reading, is like, well, if you get the grant, it's going at Walsh Field, and that's that. And I said, not necessarily, but I think that that distinction needs to be made.
I agree.
I agree too. I think we want to apply for the grant, but unless we can raise the additional 200,000 or more, we're not going to build this skateboard park. But I think we need to move ahead with trying to get the grant. Obviously, if we don't build a skateboard park, we're not going to get the money. But I think the logistics of it should be clearly explained.
Jamie, did you want to talk?
Well, I agree with all three of you. It's just that the deadline for the grant is January 22nd, and the Murphy administration last year announced $25 million for local recreation improvement grants. Chip Bottom just got grants to do new pickleball courts, so I thought it would be, an excellent idea to apply for this money if other municipalities receive this already. So I didn't think it was a bad idea to ask for this grant at all. There's definitely still a discussion to be had, but you have to apply for these grants in order to get them. So I don't understand what
The maximum amount of the grant is 100,000.
the maximum amount of this grant is $100,000.
Yes, and we are planning on having another formal discussion at the end of February. I think it's the 26th, maybe, when Dan Allen is back and able to participate, to look at the plans more carefully and look at the construction costs and make a more definitive answer from council whether a fundraising effort should begin. So
Right, so
unfortunately, kind of do have to put the cart before the horse
Right.
to
the
get in
deadline,
line for the
Yeah.
money. If you decide not to go forward, we can always say we're not going to execute this grant agreement and you can give it back.
right, absolutely. If the deadline is January 20th, the state doesn't work very quickly, so I anticipate that would be a few months when they would decide whether or not that would happen. And we don't go through with it, we don't take the grant.
And from what you've told me and Dan has explained to us, that if we don't, whether we are for it or against it, you can't, I mean, the concern has been raised that we want you to raise the money for it. And so you can't ask people to donate money if they don't know what they're donating to. So it's important to,
Right,
right,
absolutely.
then
And
that's part of it.
Right, absolutely. But this came up. I think that it's an excellent opportunity that we need to fill out this application to see if we can even get this grant.
It's a good idea.
I understand the timeliness of it, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that, and again, I get phone calls, and please, everybody, call, email, every council member and Sherry Mason, not just me. And, they're panicking, like, whoa, this sounds like it's already kind of a done deal, and that's not the case. I do understand the timeliness that's involved here. I just want to make that distinction known and make sure everybody else understands it as well.
Thank you, Colleen.
Any other questions from council on this resolution?
I have a question. When you
Go
fill out you fill out this grant, is this project specific?
Yes,
And so if the skateboard park doesn't go through and we get the grant, then we
We give
lose.
the money back. If it doesn't go through, we'd
Well,
have
I'd
to give the money back.
If we get the grant, my point is, if we get the grant, I'd like to use the money on another recreational project. Can we state a couple of purposes for the money, Sherry or Jamie? For instance, refurbishing our basketball courts?
I haven't looked at the exact application. Frank Little's office is responsible for filling out the actual application, but that's definitely something that I can ask them tomorrow and get back to you on that.
Yeah, thank you. If
Yeah.
we could make it a multi-purpose sort of,
Maybe they'll give us money then.
and at least we have, we can keep the money and redo our, I don't think anybody's going to object to a basketball court refurbishing. So that would be my,
get that accomplished. Yeah, I think we can get that accomplished. Do I have a motion to approve resolution 35, 2023?
So moved.
Second,
Mr. Batista,
yes.
Mrs. Bowmiller,
Yes.
Ms. Lambert,
Yes.
Ms. Snyder,
yes.
Mayor Davis.
Yes,
I have a bill list this evening in the amount of $1,139,799.13. Do I have a chance to review the bills?
Yep.
yes,
Any questions on the bills?
Nope.
May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the bills.
Thank you.
Second.
Mr. Batista,
Yes.
Mrs. Bowmiller,
Yes.
Ms. Lambert,
Yes.
Ms. Snyder,
Yes.
Mayor Davis.
yes.
Under general discussion, we have a discussion on the traffic light upgrades. Michael, you have some things you'd like to discuss?
So as council knows, there are two, well, let me start. The overhead traffic lights that we have swinging on cables over the main boulevard, we have 6 of them. As most of you know, 2 of them are scheduled to be replaced. The county has a program in place where they're paying for half of the cost, plus they're doing all the application fees. They're putting it out to bid. They're carrying the heavy load on this. My feeling is that if we can buy something for half price, we should jump all over it. There's no guarantee that the money's going to be there again next year. I'm working with Frank on this, and it's my understanding that the county will give us several years to pay for the additional 4 lights. What I like most about this program is the fact that, one, these lights are going to be a lot safer than swinging over top of us in a northeast storm. 2, all the lights are going to get pedestrian crossing signals on them. And I think we should do more to make our town friendlier for our residents and our guests by providing a safer way to cross the street. So everything shines bright in my eyes on this project. And I'd like to continue to see if in fact we get half of them paid for and we can get a delay in paying for the other 4 lights so we don't have to pay for it this year and spread it out over years to come.
So
That's all on that.
one of the other 4 is already under county ownership. So there would only be 3 left that you would consider upgrading. That would be Berkeley, Ingleside, and Center. Are you suggesting that we upgrade Berkeley?
I would do them all, Sherry. I would do them all right now and get it behind us and then concentrate on all the other projects that we have. This one just seems to be low hanging fruit that we can grab and get done. It's not going to be complicated. County's going to carry the major lift on this. I would do them all.
So we,
I'll make a comment. I know I haven't been in favor of the upgraded lights because they're so expensive, but Mike did convince me that there's a major safety factor. I would probably add Berkeley on there. That we did have a very bad accident where a child on a bike was hit crossing Berkeley, and actually the light didn't stay yellow long enough. And I think that was a number of years ago. The state of New Jersey actually increased the length of time a light stays yellow, but that is a huge crossing for kids going to the yacht club. And so I think if we're going to do it, I think we should include Berkeley.
What I would say about Berkeley also is, of all the lights, Berkeley is probably the last one that I would look at because it's really out of town. But Nancy makes the point that it's still a very popular intersection, a very busy intersection, kids riding through there on their bikes and so forth. But let's face it, Berkeley is benefiting the Little Egg Harbor Yacht Club. And perhaps if, as we get down the road on this, and I see that we don't have enough money to do this, perhaps maybe we have to pass the hat around the yacht club a little bit. So we'll see how it all develops. I would also add that the New Jersey Transit, our DOT grants, have been primarily allocated to the resurfacing of roads in our town. But I don't know that traffic lights wouldn't qualify for the transportation grants as well. And there's a big pot of money in the new budget for the federal government. And we can approach that and see what that is and how maybe we can get some of that money as well. So there's a lot of opportunities out there. I'd like to keep poking away at this, and if we can get it at a reasonable price or no cost at all, then certainly it's a good project that we need. If you drive down the boulevard, the township's already done every single one of their lights. We're behind the eight ball, in my opinion, on this one.
So just for the rest of council, we've already committed to $250,000 expense split over 3-year payments, 3 years of payments at $83,000 a year. With the additional 3 lights, you'd be looking at an additional $375,000 in expense, totaling $625,000 for all of them, broken into 3 years of payments. The payments would be $208,333.
I don't disagree with any of this. In the perfect world, I think they should already been done, but I sat through many hours of budget meetings and we talked about, Chief, remember the vehicles, and we had to start making sacrifices and swaps and everything like that. If we can get grant money to pay for these or pick up the vast majority, but it even came to the point at one time we were going to eliminate doing the 2. And I know Sherry said that was not a good faith thing to do with the county, and I agreed. I said we should at least do the 2. I think as much as I would love to jump in and do the other, definitely the 2, Berkeley, again, that could be a marginal one if we ever had the money. But I just think we need, again, to get all these grants and everything first before we really consider anything more, because we made a lot of cuts to get to these 2 lights. I remember that distinctly.
Well, we put the 2 in this year's capital, and the capital that's coming up in September, we're probably putting the rest, right? Or at least 2. That was the plan was to do it. We were just going to do it
We would
over.
pay $83,000 this year, $83,000 in next year's capital, and $83,000 in the next year's capital.
Right, but we were going to do 2 lights, and then we we're going to do 2 more.
No, we were going to do 2 lights and pay for them over 3 years,
And not increase any.
and that was it.
Well, could we, we're not voting on this tonight. Could we have Mike continue to look into this and talk with Frank and basically see if there's any more grant money?
No, as a matter of fact, when we talked to the county engineer, he said that he was just about to go out for bid for this job. He was willing to delay the in-house bid for 1 week to give us time to have a council meeting and discuss it on the record to see if we had a consensus if we were going to go ahead and amend the agreement. He is ready to go out to bid for the work, so we kind of have to have some direction today to go back to the county engineer and let him know what our intentions are.
Well, if we're,
Has,
if
go
we're in a
ahead.
time frame to lose the money, if we can do it, I think there's no reason to say no to it.
That's for you guys to decide. Are you willing to, look at the additional expense, or are we gonna keep it at the 2 and?
Can you,
Well, public safety is paramount. If we could get them to pay for half of it, I think the time is right. And I would support it.
If we get into a situation where.
And I think we could leave Berkeley out. I even live on Berkeley. And my grandkids cross over there 10 times a day. So it would make it safer, but I can understand why if we can't afford it, we could leave Berkeley out.
I think we charge folks, we can charge folks and try to understand it a little bit better. I'm sure there's a parachute to jump out if we need to. But if the momentum's moving and we can make this work, we should keep the momentum moving here and try it. I'm sure we can, if it gets to a situation where we can't afford it and it really is something that is going to burden the town, then we exit. I'm sure there's a way out.
I'm just concerned because, like I said, it's a great idea on surface, but right now, looking at the library repairs, they're already up around this figure. So I just foresee this, unless we do come up with some money, and not just, our share of it, but a lot more. I think that we're putting a real burden on the taxpayers right now. I'm not downplaying the safety, you're right, but, unless we're gonna see a big tax hike, or I'm just concerned about it.
Jamie, where do you stand? I think I can get where everybody is with it. Where are you?
Well, I know the chief is in support of these lights, so he's been talking about them for years. And I think the main concern, like Colleen said, it's the financial part of it. That's always the concern, is the financial part and the burden on the taxpayers. If this is the last opportunity for the county to put in half, which it shouldn't be because it is their road. I could go, I'm going to support however it goes. I'm not going to fight this.
Okay.
I want it to be safe. And the chief wants this. But it is concerning because this is going to come up, in the capital already a third of what we're supposed to be spending.
Okay. Any other comments on that before we close general discussion? Before we open the floor for public comment, we just been notified, I did not know that Ron McMiniman, former Laney board member, has passed away.
Oh my
I did not know, but I just wanted to make mention of that. I know he was just a very important piece of Beach Haven, Laney's board specifically. So I just wanted to make note of that we're thinking of the family right now. So at this time, we'll open the floor for public comment. We'll start with the room first. Anyone on Zoom wish to be heard? Public comment, you can speak on any topic. You can raise an electronic hand, or you can unmute yourself and state your name and address for the record. Hi, Katie, did you want to speak? If you could unmute yourself.
There we go. Thank you so much. Yes, my name is Katie Ripson, and I am the owner of Yoga Bohemia at 830 North Bay Avenue in Bay Village, and I operate the Beach Yoga program. My speaking tonight is simply a public thank you to the council and Mary Claire for your consideration, advocacy, and work for the borough's brick and mortar small businesses, and for working in a reasonable fee for those of us with mercantile licenses. So that's all I wanted to say. A big thank you for your advocacy and your support, and Happy New Year to you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Anyone else wish to be heard on Zoom? Seeing none, we'll close the floor and we'll go to final remarks by council. Mr. Batista?
No comment.
Thank you. Ms. Ballmiller?
My thoughts and prayers go out to Patty and her family. I will be looking for some DOT grants and federal money tomorrow during my prep period. And I was very excited to come down the boulevard and see the green lights on the Marlin. I was representing the Eagles win yesterday, so that made my day. Other than that, I don't think that there is anything coming up, so that's it.
Thank you. Ms. Lambert?
Again, I'm very sad to hear about the Ron McMahon's passing. My condolences to Pat and her family. And I also want to acknowledge all the people who called, texted, emailed to thank me for serving as the mayor for the past 2 years. I'm still in the council. I'm still here to advocate and represent you. So please reach out as necessary. I also wanted to make it public that we heard from Congressman Van Drew's office a week ago. Last year, all the mayors had petitioned him to help us get money for our beach replenishment. And he said they came through with 36 million for the island, 32 million for the island. So that was a very, very positive thing because we weren't sure the money would be there at all. And Congressman Van Drew is also very instrumental in keeping our Coast Guard station here. And we're hoping that he will also be instrumental in getting some money for our new firehouse. So thank you very much for all of that. And that's it.
Thank you. Ms. Snyder?
Well, my heart and prayers go out to Patty, and Ronnie will be really missed. Who had a great guy, served for many years on land use. He and Patty are just two of the OGs, and we will miss him terribly. And my heart goes out to you, Patty. Happy to be here. Thank you for having me. Each month I'll learn a little more, and thank you for all of your help.
Mayor Davis?
Yeah, I don't have much to say, but I would like to just express my sympathies to Patty and reiterate what Kitty said. And I'm coming home tomorrow, so I'll be back in town soon.
All right, great. Thank you
That's
so much. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you so much. Meeting adjourned.